like to welcome our board, our staff, and our guests for a very special occasion today. United Way can't be successful without the support of individuals and key companies in our communities. And today we have with us Tom James of Raymond James, who has a legacy of supporting United Way in our communities in so many ways. And we're so pleased to have Tom with us today. And we have a very special occasion because Tom is going to present a check from a longtime former employee of Raymond James, Kathy Kennicott, who has left a legacy gift through her estate. Tom, come and tell us about Kathy and the gift. Welcome.
Good to see you, Gary.
Good to see you.
And you know, I like to take this opportunity to thank you and everybody who's still working on United Way. It really takes senior people in the community like you to ensure that we really get a job done in terms of the amount of funding we raise and in terms of quality screening of the agencies that we share funds with and help them survive and do the job we need for our infrastructure in the Tampa Bay area. You know, Kathy was a long-term employee of Raymond James. She's now deceased, by the way, which is the reason for this gift, I would say. She joined us as an expert in IRAs. And you might say to yourself, well, you know, what does that mean? Well, she was like an encyclopedia of every rule and regulation in the qualified plan arena, not just IRAs. So if any of our FAs had clients that had problems, more complicated than, gee, you need to start taking distributions at 70 and a half, she knew the answer. And she knew the answers so she could share those things with other firms too and work on industry problems and trying to change some of the rules and regulations to get more practical results. And that made her different. So at our firm, almost everyone knew Kathy Kennicott. Now, she would go to her office and she'd work all day. She'd probably work late lots of times. Because there were so many requests for help. And she was legendary amongst our field force of financial advisors because of this level of expertise. And you could recognize her. She was short, but she had a good sense of humor. So everybody enjoyed her because she would really share all this information with a little humor. When it gets a little, you know, regulatory stuff, it's not a lot of fun. So I would say that lots of our employees at Raymond James Financial work every day and think about charitable activities. And United Way has always been our hallmark of our charitable endeavors. And you know, we match funds for employee contributions, and we actually actively promote United Way and participation in United Way. And she obviously became steeped in all of this tradition, and she had come to work for us because her brother worked for us as in our Eagle Asset Management division, and she was just a wonderful resource to have. I had no idea that she had as much money as she had, but she worked for us so long that all these qualified plans that she knew all the rules about had compounded in value, and she actually had a large estate. Well, her brother didn't need any money. He did quite well himself, thank you. And as a result, she actually bequeathed her assets to United Way. And you know, you might think maybe a senior executive who'd been involved with United Way would make a big bequest to United Way. It doesn't occur that, you know, kind of one of the rank and file would do this. And when you look at the size of the gift, number one, it makes me proud that she could have accumulated this much money over the years doing what she did. But what she has done with it, since she didn't have an immediate family and her brother didn't need anything, she gave it to United Way to benefit all these agencies that she learned about in all the presentations that we have when we're trying to initiate a new campaign every year. And that makes a world of difference. So it's my great pleasure to present you with a check United Way Suncoast, Inc. for over $2 million.
That's tremendous, Tom. We really appreciate it. You can see it on the screen.
Right.
Got a big check. I'm gonna
You got a big check.
Yeah, no, well, you have a lot to do with getting this, so it's important.
Everybody good? We'd like the board members, if you would, to just come and stand behind us so that we have a picture with all of
Maybe we
you.
gotta hold it.
Sure you can sing it.
This is the largest single gift we've gotten from a single donor. And United Way is going to put this to good use. We need this kind of support to do the work in our local communities, and we appreciate it tremendously. And what an inspiration you are, what an inspiration Kathy is. We hope that everyone will see this as an inspiration to make legacy gifts and understand what a tremendous impact one individual can have. So we thank you for all you do and all Raymond James does and for your culture of giving, and it's obviously contagious. And Kathy picked it up, and others in your organization picked it up, and we couldn't thank you enough for your leadership and your generosity.
Thanks so
Thanks,
much.
Tom.